Hey guys, it's Universe here. I'm back in another video, and today guys, I'm back once again with another review video. And today guys, this is going to be my last review for right now until if I ever come back in the future, because as you know what's been going on. So this is going to be my final review. So far we've done all the ones I promised. We've done Primal Season 3 Episode 10, we've done the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and also the Backrooms movie. So today guys, my final review for now on this channel until further notice is going to be my review on SML movie The Secret Door 2 and SML movie Chef Pee Quits Part 7. So these did come out like about a month ago, or like just a couple weeks ago, a month or two ago, I'm not too sure, but it's just been a little while since it came out. So I did watch this, of course, on YouTube, and all I can say for now is that they were interesting sequels, but they, of course, all had their issues, given how this is SML. So honestly, I did think that we were done with all these, like, these genres or whatever, these specials. Like, we were done with The Secret Door after 9 years, and we were done with Chef Pee Quits Part 6, or the series as a whole, since it's been like 10 years since the series concluded because of all the moving issues or whatever. But Logan decided to actually do these as a way to celebrate, I think, like 10 million subscribers, or at least to like celebrate how many subscribers they got. So they gave this to, they revealed in their live stream that they're going to actually bring these back as a reward for the subscribers or the fans for helping them reach that limit or something. But yeah. So I did check both these out, and they were honestly interesting. Like the first one, The Secret Door 2, definitely has me invested for what's to come next. While Part 7 to Chef Pee Quits, honestly, I really don't think was necessary, but I at least will say, okay, at least we got a conclusion after quite a while. But I still think it was best that they just left it to be abandoned. So today, guys, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions about this and give you my ratings, and then we'll just call it like that. I wouldn't say there's going to be spoilers because this is not even a movie that, well, they say SML movies, but they're not movies like the other ones I reviewed, so I wouldn't really say spoilers. But if you haven't even seen them, then you should definitely go watch them and check them out for yourself, because they're kind of interesting, especially the Secret Door 2, which we're going to do first. So let's get started. Here is my review on The Secret Door 2. So how The Secret Door 2 starts off is, it starts off in hell with Craig as he's getting he's talking to some of the bad people in the SML universe that end up in hell, like Jeffrey, like Lance's acting of Jeffrey Dahmer from the Jeffy Dahmer episode, and of course Jeffy's deadbeat mom Nancy also makes another cameo. So we already know she's in hell after what she's done. And then we actually get the character that I'm sure a lot of us have been wanting to see come back for so long, that I have not expected to see. And that is none other than Does Bad Things Guy, Brooklyn Guy's only identical twin. So he actually manages to trick Craig into actually going back to the real world so he can actually continue his quest in doing bad things, and which Craig actually does so. And now he basically pretends to be happy or not happy that he's going to go back or something, just to manipulate Craig into bringing him back, which it works, and then he ends up back in the secret door room. And funny enough, what's actually really funny is the way that SML brought Does Bad Things Guy back was exactly how I wanted Nancy to come back in Jeffy's 20th birthday, which I then later used for the concept of Episode 5, Season 3 of Savor the Multiverse. Like, Nancy made a deal with Craig to go back to the real world and then get her revenge on Jeffy to get the money. So, and then now in SML, Does Bad Things Guy makes a deal with Craig, but he also kind of manipulates him so he can go back to the real world and continue doing bad things. So I wonder if SML actually took inspiration from that episode of my series. Then again, SML's gaming channel did show up to my live stream on my last show, which was me waiting for Jeffy's 21st birthday. So maybe it's possible if they actually did see my channel and watch my series and maybe get some ideas. So SML or SML Gaming, whichever channel, if you guys are seeing this, if you did get inspiration from my series, shout out to you guys for that, because that was really cool. So Does Bad Things Guy, he does see Marvin, Jeffy, and Rose, and he wants to get his revenge, but he just doesn't know how to. But then as he sees his brother, Brooklyn Guy, pull up, he captures him, locks him in his car, and steals his outfit so he can disguise himself as the doctor or as Brooklyn Guy. So as Jeffy does like some dumb shenanigans where he puts apparently a toothpick in his eye, Marvin calls Brooklyn Guy, which is really Does Bad Things Guy, and he lures Jeffy into the secret door room, and then he starts beginning to torture him. So, and then soon Rose begins to get a little bit suspicious and actually goes to check on him, and then that's when she also gets captured too, and even Chef Pee Pee gets captured as well. So eventually, it just leads down to Marvin to wonder like what is going on. So as he's asking Braxton, he then gets visited from Does Bad Things guy after he goes to try and manipulate Marvin, and he brings him outside of the house and locks him out so he can continue to torture Jeffy, Rose, and Chef Pee Pee. Then that's when Marvin ends up hearing Brooklyn guy screaming, or his muffled screaming, in the trunk of his car. He lets him out and then he frees him. Then Brooklyn guy then tells Marvin about what's really going on, how his brother came back and now he captured him to probably try and continue his quest in doing bad things. So Brooklyn guy then calls Simmons over so then they can try to stop him. And then we do get a bit of like a filler moment of them trying to unlock the door, but eventually they do so. They manage to go to the secret room, but as Does Bad Things guy is ready for them to show up, he then pulls out a gun and I forgot how it was, but like he ends up shooting Simmons and supposedly kills him. But we seem to get a little callback to Jeffy Sneaks Out, where he got shot by fake Jeffy, or drawing Jeffy or whatever, but I just call him fake Jeffy. But it turned out that he hit his lucky ketchup packet, so I think he sort of had something like this a little bit in this episode. So then Mario grabs the gun, and then as Brooklyn guy goes to confront his brother, the two get into a fight, and then Marvin points the gun at the two of them, but then he ends up in that situation where there's two of the same person, and now he can't figure out which one it is. So basically what happened was when Does Bad Things guy was about to kill Rose and Jeffy and Chef Pee Pee, he took his shirt off because it was getting hot in there, so now he was naked. And the thing was, Brooklyn guy was also naked given how Does Bad Things guy took his doctor uniform, so now we can't tell which Brooklyn guy is which. So this is kind of like that similar scenario from that one episode of Family Guy when Brian is about to shoot the evil Stewie, but then both normal Stewie and evil Stewie both have their clothes off, so now Brian can't tell which one is which. So then Marvin tries a similar tactic from Jeffy Sneaks Out, where he tries to figure out something that only the real Brooklyn guy would know. So first he tries to like ask him like how they got their wounds. So Does Bad Things guy has like a bandage on his head, which because he got shot, and then I think Does Bad Things guy has the bandage. Sorry guys. He has a bandage on his head when he got shot last time, and then Brooklyn guy has a bandage on his head because he got hit in the head by Does Bad Things guy. But the thing is, it looks like it has like a gunshot wound, which is a little weird right there. So that clearly doesn't work because they try to like trick him or confuse him. Then Marvin tries the whole, that constant slang that, or whatever it is, that slag that Brooklyn guy always sings, the baby back chilies, baby back ribs, barbecue sauce. Gag that he always has where it's like that thing where it's like a stutter where every time someone says baby back, even if it's not the slogan for Chili's, he has like a problem where he just can't stop saying this. So I think what happens is Brooklyn guy ends up saying the barbecue sauce part, but Does Bad Things guy doesn't say that because he doesn't know that's how Brooklyn guy always finishes the song, with saying barbecue sauce. And then I think when Brooklyn guy says, well, he hadn't done too many bad things, maybe we would have known, or something like that.
Barbecue sauce. Oh god, if you didn't do so many bad things, we could be friends.
Wait. So then Marvin then suspects that was Does Bad Things guy, and he ends up shooting him. However, this is the thing. Here's a catch though. We didn't see which one that Marvin actually shot, but once we heard what they were saying off screen, Marvin shot at one of them. So now we don't know if he actually shot the real one, and I'm gonna get to something like that in a second. So as Brooklyn guy then gets everyone all like situated and patches them all up, he then starts joking to Marvin that he still Does Bad Things guy and that he killed the wrong one, but he starts joking around with him, or so they thought. So then as the episode ends, we then get like a creepy zoom up of Brooklyn guy in like a creepy way with some scary music, and then the episode ends without an SML question, which leads me to believe that Marvin did in fact not kill Does Bad Things guy, and he ended up killing Brooklyn guy. So this definitely is making me think that, yeah, Does Bad Things guy, he's still around, and this is going to be a repeat of what happened all the way from the new house from 2016 all the way to the Secret Door 1 from 2017. So this is probably going to be like another 7-month thing, or this might even happen. This might be revealed sooner or later of who it really is. So I do know that throughout different SML movies nowadays, Brooklyn guy has been acting a bit strange. Like he's been kind of having like a few like awkward moments where he's acting like strange with like stalking Marvin, appearing just out of nowhere, and also making these like uncanny drawings of like Marvin getting murdered or something. So this makes me think, yeah, like this is clearly got to be Does Bad Things guy. So, but he's just trying to hide it from Marvin for now. So now this really raises the question: if Marvin did in fact kill Brooklyn guy and didn't kill Does Bad Things guy, when is Marvin or anybody else going to finally find out that this is actually Does Bad Things guy? Well, I actually have a very good theory of when this could actually happen. I feel that this is actually going to be revealed in August when Jeffy's 22nd birthday come out. So here's my prediction. So with Jeffy's birthday coming up, maybe it's also possible that Brooklyn guy Does Bad Things guy has the same birthday as Jeffy is, and Brooklyn guy. So maybe he's gonna, of course, get even more so jealous than Brooklyn guy, and he's gonna attempt to try to sabotage the party in, like, trying to kill him. Or maybe something happens, like Jeffy gets into like an injury or something, and Marvin calls Does Bad Things guy or Brooklyn guy, but again it's Does Bad Things guy, and he tries to like do something to try and like get his way into murdering everybody, while meanwhile Brooklyn guy, the real one, is either in heaven or hell, but he's probably in hell because let's face it, Brooklyn guy has done a lot of bad stuff in his own time, so it's no surprise there. So he's probably in hell right now with Craig, and maybe Craig or even Billy, you know, the AIDS guy, he ends up making him a birthday cake. Or if it's just Craig, just makes him a birthday cake, but it's a more like a evil cake. But then Brooklyn guy has the chance to make a wish, so maybe he ends up using that wish to wish himself to come back to life so he can go back to the real world and stop his brother before he kills more people. I do feel that this would honestly be a very good opportunity right here, because again, I feel despite Brooklyn guy has the same birthday as Jeffy, it would be no surprise here either if Does Bad Things guy or any other relatives of Brooklyn guy do share the same birthday. It honestly wouldn't be surprising if that's the case, given how many different brothers Brooklyn guy really has. So, but other than that, we'll have to wait and find out. Maybe SML will have something completely different, or this will just be revealed in a later video, or maybe they'll lead up to a Secret Door 3. But I really don't think that's the case, honestly. I really think that Jeffy's 22nd birthday would be like the biggest point for this to happen, or the biggest opportunity, or bestest one. But we'll have to wait and find out. But other than that, that's gonna wrap up my review for the Secret Door 2. This was honestly a very decent sequel, although again it did have a few problems, but I do kind of consider this to be a canon sequel because this takes place after when Marvin and everybody else went into their human forms pretty much. So this would honestly be a decent sequel, honestly, but it really could have done a bit better. So what are my thoughts of this, or what is my rating of this episode? I'm going to rate this probably a 7 out of 10. It was a really, like I said, a decent video. It had some filler moments and some problems, but it was an alright episode. But it will not be anything compared to the next one we're going to review, which is Chef Pee Pee Quits Part 7. So now let's get started on that video. So now for my review on Chef Pee Pee Quits Part 7, just before we start, I think it's best I do give everyone a recap of what happened, because this is kind of an old series, so there may be a small amount of people that don't exactly remember this. So in case anyone does not remember what happened in the series, I'll give you guys a recap. So this was all back during when Logan was at his old house, where Chef Pee Pee, of course, was getting tired of Bowser and Junior's bullshit. He then ultimately quit, and then he actually became a cop for Goodman. So yes, if you guys didn't know, back then Goodman was a police officer before Brooklyn guy was introduced. So Chef Pee Pee was being a cop for Goodman for a while, but we also found out that Goodman was just as much of a corrupt cop as Brooklyn guy back then. Like, he ended up shooting a black individual, or in other terms, Cody's stepdad, which would later be his actual dad. And then they also ended up arresting Craig as well, not long after Bowser and Junior fired him for being their new chef, because he always was making evil food. Then in Part 3, Goodman and Chef Pee Pee, they got an Amber Alert about Patrick, you know, the so crazy kid who ran away from home because his mom wouldn't let him watch SpongeBob. They ended up trying to take him back to his mom, but then after, when he ended up beating up Goodman, Goodman told Chef Pee Pee apparently to run him over with the cruiser, which he did, and Goodman liked that. But then soon Chef Pee Pee got fired after when he got a disturbance complaint of Bowser beating Junior. He tased Bowser, and that was enough to get him in trouble where he got fired. So apparently it was okay for him to run over a 7-year-old, but not tase an abusive dad. Like, That doesn't make any freaking sense. Then after that, Chef Pee Pee then gets the job as a plumber assistant for Brooklyn Guy. He attempts to unclog the toilet that Shrek clogged, but then Chef Pee Pee quit that job because he got pooped a big turd that flung onto his head. But thankfully he was wearing a hard helmet, so it didn't end up too bad, but it was still gross. Then Mario got him a job at Goodman Enterprises, where he worked at a call center or like a debt collector center to try and collect money from people who have to pay their electricians or whatever. But then unfortunately the customers, which was Margaret and Bitterman, who actually was before another attempted chef for Bowser Jr., and also Tyrone, who somehow survived that gunshot from Goodman, they all lied to Chef Pee Pee to manipulate themselves into not paying their bills, and this unfortunately then pisses Goodman off, and he fires Chef Pee Pee. Then he gets another job, which he then ends up being a security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. At first, Chef Pee Pee, he wants to quit his job after the first night because of how scary this was, but then he immediately wants to keep the job when he befriends the animatronics and gets free pizza, but then he has no choice but to quit this job as well, because then it unfortunately burns down. Then he sees the job application for a Grim Reaper for Craig, which he goes along with it for a little bit, but then he fails to do so after he fails to kill Mario's grandpa and a cat named Muffins. And then he tries to do the desk job for Hell, but then he gets fed up after he gets too many calls from schools about there being a lot of school shootings. So then he ultimately just quits that job. And not long after that as well, he meets up with Toad, becomes a rapper, and does a rap song about how much his life sucks. And then that's when the series ended right there. So now we get on to part 7, where unfortunately Chef Pee Pee's song did not do so well, which kind of sucks because it was pretty fire for a rap song. I even enjoyed listening to it.
Man, I hate my life. Man, I hate my life. Man, I hate my life. I wish that everything was right. Man, I hate my life. Man, I hate my life. Man, I hate my life. I wish that everything was right.
So then Chef Pee Pee has no choice but to quit that job, and then he goes to the beach to try and get some thoughts to himself, and then he ends up running into Brad, which is another one of the blonde bitch's ex-boyfriends. So then he gets the job as a lifeguard. Now, before I continue, I would like to point out that I did read up on the wiki page that I think there was theories, or it was confirmed that in part 7, Chef Pee Pee was supposed to be a professional boxer and face D-Money, but I guess that was just a theory from what I can guess. So But yeah, so Chef Pee Pee then gets the job as a lifeguard. He constantly saves this little girl who probably is on some kind of like autism or something, because every time he saves this girl, she keeps running right back into the ocean and jumping in and drowning.
What the fuck? Oh my god! It's actually a little girl drowning! Wait! Oh my god! I got you! Are you okay, little girl?
You saved me!
Wait! You went back in the fucking water!
So he saves her the first time, she then runs back in again, and as he attempts to go save her, a shark then eats her, and then Brad's apparently not being a good lifeguard because he's too busy motorboating a stripper, and that was the one problem I had with this episode. It was getting way too filler with the motorboating. So then after he saves the girl again from the shark, and then he's scolding Brad for not helping, she just jumps right back in the ocean and drowns again. And then Chef Pee Pee and Brad just say, fuck it, and then they just end up motorboating the stripper again. And then Steve Staleberger then is interviewing Brooklyn Guy about the girl who drowned, and then he ends up firing Chef Pee Pee, or banning Chef Pee Pee and Brad for being lifeguards and saving people, because now it's illegal apparently to them. Now, I know Brooklyn Guy's a corrupt cop, but what the fuck kind of law is that? It's illegal to save everybody if you get fired from a lifeguard job. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Now, also, you might be thinking, well, this is Does Bad Things Guy because after Secret Door 2. Well, no. Given how this is meant to be a sequel to the Chef Pee Pee Quit series after Part 6, I think it is safe to say that this is still Brooklyn Guy, even though the timeline is a little bit messed up because they're now using the human puppets, but I think it's still safe to say that this is Brooklyn Guy, okay? So this is basically still in the timeline of 2015 or 2014 or whatever it first began, but you get my point. So yeah, Chef Pee Pee then is banned from being a lifeguard. He then sees Braxton and Junior drowning in the ocean after Braxton took Junior to the beach. Braxton ends up drowning, and then Junior goes to save him, but he ends up drowning too. At first, Chef Pee Pee doesn't want to save them after all the hell they've put them through, but deep down, Chef Pee Pee still misses his job with working for them. So then he sacrificed himself to run over there, rescue them from drowning, which then leads up to him getting arrested. But then as Braxton and Junior attempt to bail him out, Broken Guy then gets touched by this moment and actually decides to end up like having Chef Pee Pee get like freed from jail. So Chef Pee Pee then decides that he wants to go back to working for Junior and Bowser, or Braxton, and that they'll only like torture him like a little bit less from what happened before. So the little touching moment, but I do think that Chef Pee Pee should have probably tried to find another job, but I knew deep down he was probably going to go back to working for Braxton and Junior. So that was my theory there, that I theorized since episode 6 ended. But yeah, it just ends off on a little bit of a happy ending, with Chef Pee Pee then deciding to go back to his miserable job with working for Braxton Jr. because he just feels that it's just better that way. He's tried so many other jobs, but they failed miserably. So this is probably the only job he's really good at, even if it results in him getting tortured. And yeah, that's how the episode ends. So again, like I said before, this was an okay sequel, but I do feel that this was better off just left abandoned because of the timeline being very messed up. Because first, it was from the old house, and then when part 5 and 6 came, this was at the apartment, and now Logan did the final part at the new house, so things would obviously get confusing. But I understand that Logan just wanted to do this to celebrate the 10 million subscribers, so just to give the fans a reward for that, so I understand that. But again, other problems was, of course, the filler with the motorboating, the stripper. Even Broken Guy was started doing that as well, and I was like, bro, how immature is everybody right now? But yeah, so my rating of this episode, I'm going to rate this a 6.5 out of 10. It was kind of a mid finale. It really could have been a lot better for what this could have had planned, but I will be honest, I at least will admit this was a good way and a decent way to end off the series. But it was better off for them to just leave this series abandoned, to be honest. But I'm just glad that it finally was put to rest after 10 years, pretty much. And yeah, that's going to wrap up my review for The Secret Door 2 and Chef Pee Pee Quits Part 7. Again, they were both decent episodes or videos from SML. Like, The Secret Door 2 was definitely my favorite out of the two. But again, Chef Pee Pee Quits Part 7 really could have been so much better. And yeah, I'm going to end this video right here. And that's all I'm really going to be doing for reviews right now, guys. I still have to do my review on Monarch Season 2, but I'm probably just going to wait until the time is right for that, because I really do not have much time left to try and watch all 10 episodes, given how long they are. So I might just wait on if I ever come back in the future, if things go well, where I pass the ASVAB and then pass basic training and go in the military. If I ever do get my own phone, if I go there, I will try to watch the second season of Monarch's Legacy of Monsters, and if I do that, I will then do my review for it. So, and there is other stuff coming up, like Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then of course Jeffy's 22nd birthday, as I mentioned before, Godzilla Minus Zero, and Avengers Doomsday, which is all coming up later this year. But I probably will get to those if I come back in the future, since I won't be able to probably watch and review those. So if I do come back in the future, guys, you guys can expect me to review those. So let's hope things go well from there. But other than that, guys, I'm going to end this review right here. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace.
Almost I do. I'll eat your fucking kidneys. Okay, you're okay, you're okay. It's me, it's Broken Guy! We're friends! We've been friends, it's fine. Jesus, Marvin, calm down.
Simba stands tall, roaring proudly he answers the call. Godzilla walks across the horizon line, a new king